Tripoli EDC back again with another knife video. This is the Civivi Imperium. This is a contender for Knife of the Year for this year. I am so excited about this knife. I just got it in and I'm already going head over heels for it. So I'll tell you why right off the bat. Or not right off the bat, I'll tell you why in just a minute. Right off the bat, we're going to do some size comparisons. So here's the Benchmade Super Freak and the Mini Freak. As you can see, this is a nice slim design, sort of an in-between size. Here is the Spyderco Para Military 2, and where did my Para 3 go? Here we go, Para 3. And then let's do some budget knives here. We've got the Civivi Elementum button lock. This is larger than the regular Elementum. Then you've got the Civivi Brazen, a couple of Civivi options. And here's what I think are the two most important size comparisons. Here is the Benchmade 940 and the Concept Knives Hazakura. So the Hazakura and the 940, these are all sort of very similarly sized knives. And so you're getting this nice slim profile like the 940 has. It's made the 940 so popular all these years. But you're getting them, both of these are front flippers, and both of these are under $100, and I'll go into the pricing on these in a little bit. But as you can see, both of those are going to be very, very interesting going forward. And also, I may do a battle between these two, knife battles to which ones I recommend. By the way, I really do love both of these. So let's go ahead and talk about this knife first, the Imperium. So let me tell you right off the bat, one of the best things about this knife is the pricing versus the materials you're getting. So as with Civivi in general, you're getting pretty good materials for the price. You're getting Nitro V steel on pretty much all the models, except for there are some Damascus models. The Damascus, I believe, is, I'm going to assume it's their 9CR 18 MOV Damascus, which they use on a lot of things, but I don't know that for sure. The Damascus and micarta versions are going to be about $85. The marbled carbon fiber, there's a silver twill, or silver fleck, I should say. There's a copper fleck and there's a gold fleck. And so this is the copper right here. The gold and the silver ones come with I think a stonewash blade, I believe. I believe this is the only one that comes with a black blade, but this is $89. All the carbon fiber ones, I believe, are $89. And then you have a $68 one that is G10, regular G10. So a couple different options for you in the price range. And so that's one of the things I love right off the bat. Second, this is a front flipper, just a lot of fun to use. But front flippers, sometimes can wear on you a little bit. And so, I like to have an alternative method with a front flipper. And here you have very accessible, very easy to use thumb studs. So kind of taking, a cue from the Badlands, I think, which had the flipper tab, but also the thumb studs. And same thing with the Brazen here. You've got the flipper tab, but also having the thumb studs, right? Kind of taking that sort of cue, the Civivi has coupled the front flipper and the thumb studs, and somehow gotten the detent right on both of them, right? So that's good. The detent works very well for both the thumb studs and the front flipper. So very, very nice on that. The copper carbon fiber scales are beautiful. Look at these things. They are so nice. So beautiful. I absolutely love these scales. With respect to that copper carbon fiber, it looks awesome, and especially offsetting that black blade, just beautiful. Next thing, the clip on here. So this is recessed with recessed screws. Really, really nice. Contoured handles as well, which is also another great feature. However, I will say that much like the or I shouldn't say much like this one, much like the Civivi button lock Elementum, the micarta version of this knife does not have contoured scales. They have flat scales like this, and I believe just like this one, the clip is not recessed. So the recessed clip, I believe, is only in this version, or I should say the carbon fiber versions. Another good thing about this knife is the lanyard hole's hidden away back here. It does not interfere with the pocket clip, and it still leaves room for those people who like lanyard holes, so that is great. Next thing is the pocket clip itself is Civivi's standard pocket clip for the most part, where they do a deep carry clip. It works very well, and I have no complaints with it. Pretty good retention all around, and just easily slides in and out of the pocket. Very, very effective. Next thing. The ergonomics on this are really good. If you like the ergonomics on the 940, you'll like the ergonomics on this for the most part. These are actually a little bit more, I should say, contoured, ergonomic friendly than the 940 is. You have a nice well here for your fingers. I have size large gloves, large hand gloves, and I would probably say that the ergonomics on here are a, considering it's a slim profile knife, right? It's not hand filling. So considering it's that, I'm going to say they're a good 8 out of 10, which is good considering that they are, that this is never going to be hand filling. So that's great. The choil on here does give us good choke up. I don't think it's necessary, 100%, but because you have the thumb studs here, I think it makes sense, right? Because if you didn't have the thumb studs here, you could bring the blade back a little bit, and the plunge grind could be a little bit different than it is, but since the thumb studs are here, it might get in the way of anything you're cutting anyway. I think it's totally fine, because you see any material is going to pass through here, is going to pass through, only a little bit of the part that doesn't have blade on here, so I think that's fine. So I think it does make sense that they put the choil here, but it's just, I think it's sort of unnecessary if they didn't have the thumb studs. So that's great. It is a Civivi, so it has great action. It is on ball bearings, and just has really good action. It's not completely drop shot. It's about shake shot, which is great. But it has that great Civivi action we all come to know and love on Civivis. So very good about that. Let's go ahead and talk about, actually one more thing is the blade itself. The blade itself is a flat grind. It's not a hollow grind like some of the other Civivis, but it is a really nice thin stock. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Paramilitary 2 stock for comparison, right? It's a thin stock, and so this is going to make a pretty good slicer. I've already cut down a couple boxes with it, and it has done quite nicely, so very good with the blade shape and everything. Next thing, let's talk about the bad, because there are a couple bad things on here. So first of all, the Civivi pivot. I don't love the Civivi pivot on a lot of their knives, and especially not this one, because the handle is so beautiful, and then you got that pivot, and it just makes it look a little cheap, and I don't like that, unfortunately. Next thing is the scales themselves, right? So I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to do the same thing they do like on the Dogma, where they have like the line here to create sort of a different bolster. But because this is uniform all the way down, this line doesn't make sense. I don't know why it's here. It doesn't need to be here on this version of it. Maybe it makes sense in some of the other versions. I think on the flat versions it doesn't necessarily have that, right? I think it's more like this. But so I don't know exactly why they did that here. And then you can see over here there's additional lines. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't think it adds the aesthetic of the knife. They would have been much better off continuing the contour from side to side. And I think that would have been just a much more enjoyable knife. So that is a drawback. The next thing I will say is that Civivi got a little bit beat at their own game a little bit with this knife by the Hazakura. That's not to say that the Hazakura is a better knife. We're going to have to battle that out and see which one wins ahead. But as far as the action goes, this thing wins out like bar none. Like, look at this thing. This is it's rock solid lockup and just so smooth and dropping. And this one is shake shot. Okay, so is that bad? No, not bad. And could there be some variance involved? Of course. But this just has the action on this feels so much more buttery, it is a drawback. As far as pricing goes on this, the pricing, like I said, it is good, but it comes with the caveat that the Hazakura is available as an alternative if you like that as an alternative. It is an alternative at about 80 bucks. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind as well. There's a $107 version in carbon fiber, but frankly, I like this version the best. But that's just me. Next thing is this has Nitro V steel. This has a CPM 154. So, you know, they're both good steels, but CPM 154 sort of has more of a track record in the knife industry as being just a great all-around steel. So it's something to keep in mind when making the purchase of this Imperium. Next thing. There is one thing, by the way, on the good that I forgot to mention, is the flipper tab is actually really well designed. If you can see it, there's jimping all the way around, and that actually includes the top of the flipper tab. Why is that important? Because the top of this flipper tab does not have that, the Hazakura. And unfortunately, as a result, I sometimes slip off when I go to make that, when I go to do the front flipper, I'll sometimes slip off because I'm not catching the jimping. Not so on the Imperium, right? The Imperium catches every single time because it's jimped on the top in addition to the sides. So that's a cue that Concept could take from Civivi. All right, more on that in a comparison video. Overall thoughts on this. This is an awesome knife. It is one of the very best knives under 100 bucks that you can possibly get, and one of the very best budget knives in general, I should say, on the market. This is going to be a huge contender for Knife of the Year, and I am so happy I have gotten this in my lineup. You know, I'm going to be looking forward to carrying this over the next couple of weeks and testing it out. These are my first impressions, so it's not a full review, but thank you guys for watching. I hope this was thorough in any event. You know, my recommendation is go out and buy one. Go out and buy one. This should definitely be in your collection. Thanks so much for watching.